You ever have one of those days where you think, honestly, nothing special is going to happen, then bam, your whole life tilts sideways, and suddenly you're at the center of a story nobody saw coming? Yeah, that's what happened to Lucy. 10 years old, martial arts superfan, can't walk, but you couldn't call her anything but fierce. She sent this letter to her heroes, Chuck Norris and Steven Seagal. She even drew a black belt banner and taped a photo of herself grinning from a wheelchair decked out in stickers. She wrote, "People tell me it's impossible, but I believe impossible is just a word." That line right there, let me back up a sec, because the way that sentence landed in Chuck's hands, backstage after a charity show, changed everything. See, Chuck and Steven, they just finished signing autographs, waving to a crowd who came for charity and left with their hearts full. The place was buzzing, but backstage, when the lights went down, it was just them, tired, stretching, soaking in the quiet. Then this one envelope in the pile of fan mail stops Chuck cold. He reads, and all that movie star armor just kind of falls away. Steven reads it too, sees the photo, sees the fire in Lucy's eyes, and for a second neither of these living legends say a word. Then Steven just goes, "You want to crash a birthday party?" And Chuck says, "Yeah, let's make it one nobody forgets." So the next day, early, they send their team to check the address. It's a small, bright cafe in the suburbs, Lucy's favorite. Her mom's reserved the back, hung a homemade banner, scraped together cupcakes, invited just a few friends, nothing fancy, just love. Friday night, Chuck and Steven roll up in a black SUV, baseball caps pulled low, sunglasses, masks, they're stars, but tonight, they're just two men on a mission. Through the windows, they see Lucy at the center of it all, wheelchair done up in streamers, big smile on her face, clutching a present, not a clue in the world that her wildest wish is about to come true. But before they can even step out, here comes the first twist. A police cruiser screeches up, and out steps Officer Holt, all jaw and attitude, marching straight into that cafe. Suddenly, everything changes. He tells Lucy she's blocking the exit fire code, he claims. Lucy's confused. She's not blocking anything. Her mom stands up for her, but Holt's not listening. "Move that chair now," he snaps. Lucy says she can't move herself. So what does this guy do? He grabs the chair, yanks it aside, makes Lucy yelp, even knocks a glass off the table. Then, this part hurts, he slaps her. Not hard enough to hurt, but hard enough for everyone to hear. And then, right on cue, Chuck Norris and Steven Seagal walk in. The whole room goes dead silent. Holt's hand is still raised, but when he turns and sees those two, his confidence crumbles. Chuck steps forward, doesn't raise his voice, just says, "Is there a reason you just put your hands on a disabled child?" Holt tries to puff up, says it's official business, tells Chuck and Steven to back off. Steven just locks eyes with him, calm, scary calm. "You just made trouble for yourself," Chuck says. The tension's electric. One wrong move and it'll blow. Holt, desperate to salvage the situation, reaches for his baton. But Steven moves faster than anyone in the room, grabs Holt's wrist, twists, disarms him in one smooth motion, and gently but firmly pins him to the wall. Everyone's stunned. Chuck stands in front of Lucy, shielding her, and says to Holt's fellow officers, "You had a chance to stop this. Instead, you watched." The other officers don't intervene. Holt tries to bluster, "You'll regret this," but nobody's buying it. Then backup arrives, real quick. The cafe manager steps up, says, "We've got it on tape." The commanding officer reviews the footage, hears Lucy's mom explain what happened. Before long, Holt is the one in cuffs, led out as a crowd of parents and neighbors cheer. Lucy's still in shock, tears on her cheeks. But now it's awe, not fear. "I can't believe you came," she whispers. Chuck kneels down beside her. "You asked us." Steven grins. "We always answer a call for justice." But the night isn't over. Chuck and Steven help Lucy and her mom into the SUV, promising there's more to come. The car glides through city lights to the American Martial Arts Heritage Center, a place Lucy had only ever dreamed of. It's beautiful, part dojo, part museum, banners and statues, her heroes' faces everywhere. The staff greets her like royalty. On the mat in the center ring, there's a championship belt engraved, "Lucy, Unbreakable." They let her roll right up, wheel her into the spotlight. Chuck hands her a mic and tells her, "Say what's on your heart." Lucy is nervous, shaking, but she finds her voice. I used to think people like me weren't supposed to be here, she says, looking around at all the champions on the walls. But today, I learned I'm not just watching. I'm part of it. I'm not broken. I'm not weak. I'm unbreakable. The place erupts. Staff and trainers clap, some cry, her mother sobbing with pride. But it doesn't stop there. They play messages from martial arts masters around the world, people telling Lucy she's a warrior, a fighter, a hero. They drape the championship belt across her lap, give her a necklace that says, "Impossible is just a word." Then, quietly, Chuck and Steven tell her, "You didn't do anything wrong today." Sometimes people try to make you feel small, but you're proof they're wrong. That hits her hard, in a good way. Afterwards, Chuck and Steven drive Lucy home, the championship belt across her lap, the city sliding past outside. Lucy keeps glancing at the necklace, tracing the words, thinking about everything that just happened. "Do you think other kids like me could do what I did today?" she asks, quietly, on her porch. Chuck kneels so they're eye to eye. "I think they already are. They just need someone to show them it's possible." Steven adds, "And now you're going to be that someone." Lucy blinks, not quite believing it, but feeling it in her bones. "You inspired a room full of people," Steven says. "That's leadership, Lucy." Back inside, Lucy can't sleep. She sits in her room, the belt on her dresser, posters of martial arts heroes on the wall, and whispers into her old toy mic, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the champion you didn't see coming. The unbreakable Lucy." She smiles, turns off the light, and for the first time, feels like she truly belongs. The next day at school, Lucy rolls down the hallway and the whole place stops. Whispers, pointing, kids trying to high-five her. A teacher shows her the video, grainy security footage of the cafe, the slap, the legend stepping in. It's gone viral. People everywhere are talking about her courage. Even the older, too cool kids want to shake her hand. Lucy is overwhelmed, humbled, nervous, a little lost, but proud. She spends lunch under her favorite tree, just breathing it all in. Out of nowhere, she gets a text from Chuck. "Hope school's all right, champ. If you're up for it, Steven and I have someone we want you to meet." The next day, the SUV returns and they take her to a rehab center to meet Daniel, a Paralympic champion, lost his legs in an accident, never stopped fighting. He tells her, "The chair doesn't define you. You define it." Lucy listens, really listens, and realizes she's part of something bigger, a tradition of people who refuse to be boxed in, who find their own way forward. After that, Chuck and Steven invite her to train at the Heritage Center. No cameras, no crowd, just sweat and effort. They've even set up an adaptive program, punching pads, ramps, speed bags she can use in her chair. Lucy trains hard, pushes past her limits, and by the end, she's not just stronger, she's a fighter in her own eyes. At first, she's clumsy, frustrated, she wants to quit. Chuck tells her, "You're not supposed to get it right the first try. Strength is about repetition." Steven points at the mirror. "See that fire? That's the real you." Lucy grins and goes again. A few weeks later, Lucy's invited to a citywide ceremony. Turns out, her stories inspired other kids with disabilities to join the program, to try things they never would have dared. She's nominated for an award, stands on stage, and says, "Strength isn't about fists or legs. It's about standing up when no one expects you to, knowing your worth even when someone tries to take it away." The audience, adults, kids, teachers, give her a standing ovation. Afterwards, a mom tells her, "You gave my son hope." Chuck and Steven beam with pride in the front row. Back at home, Lucy puts her award next to the belt. She writes in her notebook, "Strength isn't a voice you find. It's a voice you uncover." Later that night, Chuck and Steven swing by, no speeches, just two mentors who want a reminder, whatever path you take, you're family now. Lucy sits by the window, watching them drive away, feeling something settle deep in her heart, a sense of possibility, of belonging, of unstoppable motion. The world may still be tough. There are still Officer Holtz out there, still moments that threaten to break us. But Lucy knows now she's not just unbreakable. She's a beacon. The story doesn't end with the applause. It keeps moving, one kid, one choice, one voice at a time. So let me ask, where do you find your strength? What would you have done, standing up for justice when it mattered? Do you believe impossible really is just a word? Tell us what you think. Drop a comment, hit like, and share your story. Real heroes aren't always on movie screens. Sometimes, they're just a kid in a wheelchair who refuses to back down. You know what I mean?